All right, hello. Sorry for being late today. Had some technical difficulties. So much to do. So today, actually, pretty much all month, I think I've altered my schedule for the month. This is the month that my new comic series comes out from Image Comics, The Patchwork Girl of Oz. It's an adaptation of the 7th Oz book. Could not be more excited about it. It's a dream of mine to be doing an Oz comic, so very excited. So pretty much for every stream this month, I'll be working on pages of the comic live on the show, except for January 22nd, which is the day the comic comes out. I'll be doing a store signing, and then the following Wednesday also to be doing a store signing. But this is pretty much what I'm going to be working on for this month, just to get the word out. And then we'll return to, except for the, except for the Procreate Dreams demo next week and the week after that. But every other day, promise. All right, so let's get back to, where is it? Yeah, I'm gonna go down here. Today I'm gonna be inking, been working on the digital inks for this page, which I actually penciled on the show, I think. A while back. One thing I'll probably be doing on the live stream is sort of working ahead, way ahead on pages from future issues. This is the last page of issue 4, I think. So I'm just gonna get going here. What is this? I'm keeping tabs on the chat, so if you want to chat with me, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and ink my comic. Very excited for this comic to come out. I know I have a very sort of calm demeanor, so it doesn't sound like it, but I don't want to shout in anybody's ear, you know? I don't like that. But I am excited. Started working on this adaptation 2002. And it was just a sort of it was a free newsletter exclusive comic that, that I was doing for my my newsletter subscribers, my Substack subscribers. And one day I was emailing back and forth. Well, actually, my publisher at Image emailed me and was checking up on Oddly Normal Book 5. And I said, well, it's slow going on that. But hey, would you ever be interested in publishing an adaptation of an Oz book? And I sent him what I had. I had it pretty much set up online to view. And he said, yeah, let's do it. So that was a nice, easy pitch. Like I said, it's been a dream of mine to do an Oz comic for a long time. It works. Ed Huna on Instagram says that erase function seems annoying when adjusting the rotation. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you clarify, I can erase this. Clarify a little, I can respond, but right now I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry. Not to be too detailed here with these characters, because I'm pretty far away on the page. Never really figured out how to do that. There we go. That's better. It says, "Oh, you are just moving the image around. It seems to delete what you were working on." Oh, it might be. I need to clean my my smudge guard, the glove I wear. Oh, is it a little? It's a little. Just making sure it's not blurry. It looks okay. Yeah, sometimes it registers, so it might have registered as a hit. You know what I mean. I need to clean the glove. It happens. It's just the sensitivity of the iPad screen. Meantime Creation asks, "Are you working on a commission?" Nope, I'm working on a page of the Patchwork Girl of Oz, my new comic series coming from Image 21 days from today, January 22nd. Can't wait. I'll show the full page again for those just joining. Hello from Puerto Rico, Vic Art. Hello from the United States. Let's check my live chats here. Looks like Instagram's the place to be. Oops. This is actually a pretty big moment in the story when the new companions set off on their quest. One thing I like about this story is that they're not really, they're sort of reluctant companions, and they don't start off like friendly at first, and so there's nice, banter and conflict. It's not as friendly right away as Dorothy and her friends. There's a little bit of grit to the relationships. I just gotta back off a bit just to see how much detail is being put in. Pretty small on the page as they're walking away, but I always want to check the line weight even for stuff like this. Don't like the way that hair looks right there. There, that's better. If anybody wants to ask questions or just chat in general, please feel free. I'll be watching the chat as I work. Oh, come on. This is there we go. They're off, but not to see the wizard. Well, not at first anyway. Oops. Okay. Meantime creation. No, this is an adaptation of Book 7 in the Oz series by L. Frank Baum. It's an adaptation. Meantime creation asks, are you going to make it after clean, or is this it? I don't know what that means. Can you talk about the story and characters? Well, it's, like I said, it's book 7 of the Oz series. It features new main characters to the Oz series. L. Frank Baum, he stopped writing the series at book 6 and thought he was done, but various reasons brought him back to the series. And with book 7, he decided to tell a story about, not about an outsider this time, which is usually what he wrote about, which is, people from the real world traveling to Oz. He starts the story is about a resident of Oz who sort of lives in the backwoods all of his life. Ojo the Unlucky, the little munchkin kid. And it's about his adventure learning about Oz and going on a quest. And the main character, Patchwork Girl, is somebody that he meets along the way, and actually he's very important in her life. So, and along the way, during the quest, it's a great story because it features new characters, but also, as the story progresses, you get to see all the famous Oz characters. So that's cool. Am I going to make it clean lines? Well, this I don't know. This is the cleanup. I'm not sure how much more clean you want me to make it. I'm inking these on top of the digital pencils. Here, I'll turn this off, and you can see these are the digital pencils, penciled in blue line. So these are the clean lines. Prolexosaurus Rex. Nice drawing. Cool. Thanks. Oh, over on YouTube, Duncan Pollock. Hey, Duncan, how you doing? Finally made it to one of my live streams. I'm glad to have you. Does it ever feel daunting to bring a large project like this to life? Yeah, always. But it's one of those things where, and I think I posted something like this last week to my socials. You can either not do it, or you can do it, scared, so to speak. And I've always chosen to do it scared. Scared might be the wrong way of putting it, because I'm not scared, but it's like, yeah, there's pressure, but only for myself. Outside pressure is not something that bugs me. I don't really think about that, to be honest. I'm going to take a break from these bricks in a minute here. Make sure that the line weights are larger up front. The line weights need to be thicker the closer they are to the virtual camera. But yeah, I mean, daunting. I don't know. I guess it's only personal, in personal ways that I find it daunting. It's more like, I hope I do a good job. With this project, it's a little different than my other series, Oddly Normal, where that's an original creator-owned work. With this one, there is this sort of, I hope Oz fans like it too. But even then, it's a case of sorry for moving this around. I always gotta look at it's a case of, well, this is what I'm gonna do. I hope they like it, but this, when it comes to adaptations, you gotta do your own thing ultimately and make it your own. Otherwise, what's the point? I don't necessarily see the point of doing an adaptation and doing everything the same. Especially, not in terms of being faithful to the source material. I'm being as faithful as I can to the source material, but I have to put my own stamp on it, and I have to make certain things work for me. But mostly it's about adapting a novel into a visual medium. Books are not a visual medium, and so certain things need to be altered or outright changed to make things work visually. There's not much that I'm changing. I'm being very faithful to the book, but there are changes, and I am fully prepared to justify them to anybody who might say, "Hey, why'd you do this?" There's always a reason. It's never going to be like, "I just didn't like it." I promise you, because I'm a fan of the books. Let's see. Do I get any? Meantime Creation on Instagram asks, do you get any corrections on this, or how does it work? I'm gonna guess you mean like editorial. I don't know. I guess is that what you mean? Like editorial notes or something like that? If that's the case, no. With Image, it's creator owned. You're on your own. They're not there to change your work. That's one of the reasons why I went to that when I pitched out Oddly Normal to various publishers. I sent it to 7 publishers and got offers from 2. One of them was Image, and I went with Image because I didn't want that kind of thing. I didn't want anybody saying, "Oh, you can't do this." Well, I'm gonna. And the same with this. It's a Patchwork Girl of Oz is a public domain story that I'm adapting, and I'm adapting it the way that I want to. And I'm an Oz fan, so nobody can accuse me of doing things maliciously. That's working. Yes, that's what he meant. Or that's what Meantime Creation meant. Hey, Donald, how you doing? Donald Delay over on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Honestly, when it comes to like editorial stuff, I don't think any editor could be as hard on me as I am on myself when it comes to this kind of thing. My only fear is that any changes that I do make won't be understood. But I have a forum for that kind of thing that I can talk about any changes that I make. My socials are actually in the comic and like the back sections. There's really only two changes that I can think of that people are going to be like, "What? Well, why'd you do that?" Oops. No, maybe 3. In the whole book, I need to cut a couple of these up. I forgot to do. Let's do this here. Yeah, only like I think 3 changes that people will be like, wait a minute, what'd you do that for? And I have very good reasons for doing all of them, so I'm not too worried. Break this one up too. Oops. One of the changes is to update something that has been criticized about the book, because it was published in 1913. There's one thing in there that doesn't really work in the modern world with modern sensibilities, so I just altered it slightly. I doubt anybody will be upset about it. Then another one is because there's only so many pages that I have to work with in a comic, and it's limited space, so something had to sort of give with regard to one character in terms of how much I could put in there. There's 20 issues planned, but that still means that I've only got so many pages to work with, and storytelling concerns take precedence for me over everything. So if I have to cut something, it'll be because of that. Is there another one? Oh yeah, there's one more, and I doubt anybody will be upset about that one, because I think it makes one of the characters more alive and charming. So it's a sort of a design thing that I changed, just slightly. Let me check my live chat here. Duncan on YouTube asks, so is the 20 issues to tell the whole story of the book? Yeah, 20. How many, over on Instagram, how many pages do you do daily? I don't do, I could probably do a page a day if I did things that way, but because of the needs of production, I break my days down into processes. I could do three processes at most each day. More if I'm willing to cause myself long-term damage and lose sleep. But 3 processes, and a process is, for me, is penciling, inking, or coloring. I don't include lettering because I letter my at the layout stage, so that's already kind of factored into the penciling. Donald Delay says 20. Wow, it's a good run. I hope so. That's the goal. I hope that I get 20 issues. I would not be surprised if we have to do what I did with Oddly Normal, which is, stop doing single issues after maybe 10, and then put out the last part in just book form. Oddly Normal went 10 single issues, and then for the last 10 issues / chapters, we put out full books. So, it's all dependent on sales and how we think things are going to work once we get a better sense of the reaction. But no matter what, the story will be finished. That's just so don't worry about the book not being finished, or the story not being finished, I should say. It will be done. Checking editions. Luna, thank you very much for Addition to it says nice. Meantime creation, how do I decide if I should make graphic novel or comic book series? I want to make one. I have been creating like 3 or 4 pages just for my love of comics. You know, I can't tell you that. That's a choice you got to make for yourself. But I will say this. I tell this to everybody. If you think you want to do your own comic, do about 2 issues worth. Create about 2 issues. Oh, what's this? And if you do that and you still want to make still want to keep going, you know that you've got a comic series you want to work on. It's a lot of work creating 2 issues. I had more than that done of Oddly when it was picked up, but I knew I was going to do it. I didn't really need to, but I'm telling you, you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about how much work it is to actually make a comic if you do 2 issues, because it's a lot of work. As far as single issues versus graphic novel, you know, you gotta come on, stop that. That's all dependent upon you know, how you want to do things. I can't really decide that I can't really give you advice on that, because it's not every story is a series, and not every story is a graphic novel. One reason why we stopped doing the single issues for Oddly Normal is because, you know, it's an all ages book, and so is Patchwork Girl. I mean, this is obviously meant for all ages. It's for kids, and it's possible that even with lower single issue sales, we'll keep going with it, because we're pretty sure that book sales are going to be good once they get into bookstores, especially with the Oz factor. It's not like an original concept. People know what Oz is, and that might help it out. At least that's the hope. I mean, that wasn't why I did this. I was originally thinking I was gonna like maybe self-publish this via Kickstarter or other crowdfunding thing. And again, it was just a newsletter exclusive comic. I really did not think that it would ever be published by anybody, especially Image. I did not think Image would want it. But they did, and here we are. But it was always meant to go about 20 issue length chapters. That was always my intention, just because of the way that I'd broken down what I thought the series needed in terms of page length. That's also a factor. I mean, if you have a finite story, you know, one that it goes a certain amount of page lengths, you'd probably be well to go for graphic novel instead of series. I'm really excited that this is going to be at least for the first 5 issues, this is going to be put out as floppies, because that's how many we have solicited. In fact, the first trade is already like available for pre-order and on Amazon. That's how far ahead you have to work. I had to actually solicit the trade paperback to booksellers before I solicited even the first issue to comic shops. It's so weird. So, no matter what, there'll be 5 issues. it's not gonna you know, if I end up having to switch to just books for the you know, for the second, third, and fourth, or even the third and fourth, I'm fine with that if that's what it takes, because the last thing I want to do is damage the series by insisting on the floppies, you know, coming to comic shops. That wouldn't be good for anybody. Should be getting my comps for issue 1 like a week from now, probably. Maybe this week, I'm not sure, but gotta tell you, that's gonna feel really good getting that in my hand, getting that first issue in my hand. It's you know, it's been a long time in the making, especially not thinking that it was going to be a published series at all. You know, I was content to just do it for my newsletter subscribers. Oh, sorry, I missed some chat over on YouTube. Duncan asks, I love the ink brush you use. It has so much character. Is it still the modified Staife ink brush, or have you made your own? No, it's still the modified Staife ink brush. It's called the Staife Walt Kelly ink brush, and I think he gave it away for free on his Gumroad. It's create a new layer. It's an ink, and I modified it slightly, but it gives a nice, you know, sort of pressure sensitive. It's most like the brush pens I use when I ink traditionally, but it's oops, that's not the right one. But it's based on Walt Kelly style inking. Walt Kelly is the cartoonist behind the Pogo series, classic comic, and I think I modified it to make it a little grittier. I think that was what I did. I know I did something, but I think it was a little bit more smooth in its line, and I can show you here. You can kind of see there's some grit in there. Pretty sure I added that because that was it's the kind of grit that was in the ink brush that I was using beforehand, which I liked, but it didn't have the same sort of fine tip that I can get out of this one, which is something I like. You can get really fine there. decided yet, but I think I might want to add some foreground trees here and maybe here, just to give us a better sense of them entering the forest. Not sure yet. I got time to make that decision. One of the great things about working on like a page like this on the live stream is, like I said, I'm working way ahead. So this is the last page of issue 4, and it's one of the only pages that I have penciled for it. So I got plenty of time to work ahead or to figure things out. But I like doing that a little sometimes. I like working ahead just a little bit, and that way there's a little bit of more consistent look in terms of the quality. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but sometimes I can feel when an artist is kind of checked out. You can really feel the quality dip, I think, as you know, deadline pressures get the best of them, maybe a little bit of boredom. It happens to one of my favorite artists. I'm not going to name that artist, but I can really sense when that artist loses the flow, or the, you know, I don't know. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, in terms of, I'm not trying to shame any artists. Deadlines are just brutal in comics. But working ahead like this, it also helps keep my enthusiasm up. And one of the things I like to do in writing as well is, it's a trick to keep your enthusiasm up for a project. If you're working on something sort of sequentially, and I don't work that way, I jump around. But if you find yourself not knowing what you want to do next, especially with writing, jump ahead and write a scene that you have really clear in your head. Get that out of your system, and then you got that down, and you can maybe go back and keep working. But a page like this, where I had this image in my head, I knew this is going to be the last page of an issue. You know, I penciled it up, and it's done, and now I kind of have something to aim towards. I kind of like that. That's another reason why I like doing comic covers way ahead. Is it helps me picture it existing already, if that makes sense. I did that with Oddly Normal, and I'm doing it with this one too. I do it with all my projects, actually. I create covers for them, you know, so that I can look at it and go, oh, it already exists, I just need to finish it now. It's a good motivational technique. Anyway, so now this page will be inked and maybe colored on a future live stream, and I'll be like, well, I mean, that's what I'm aiming for. That's where I'm headed. That's where these characters are headed. I know what's happening now. Meantime creation means, what do you mean jump around? For what I just said, really, I do have a production schedule. Here, I'll show you. So I'll show you I don't have it for issue. I'll show you for this one. It's issue 5. This is how I lay out my comic making progress. It's this little, you know, organizational chart that I made. And you can see PATCHWORK issue 5, pencils, inks, colors, letters, and even though like I said, I don't include letters in the process count because I do it actually at the pencil stage, but there's finishing touches that I do, so I put that last. Anyway, got all the pages down here, 1 through 24, and if I need more, I've got that set up there. And I keep track of the processes down here, and when I get one done, I cross it off. Well, sometimes, oftentimes, I will do work on a page that I know I can get done in the time I have for that day. You know what I mean? So, like, say I know that I've got, well, I already have the last page for this one penciled too. Say I know that I know I have enough time to ink this. I'll ink that, even though, the rest of it isn't done yet. But that's one down. It's one process. So I do 2 to 3 processes per day, and that's how my calendar is marked off. And so it's not like I don't work page 1, pencils, inks, colors. I do processes, so I can knock them out on my calendar schedule no matter where that is in the book, if that makes sense. You're still advancing work on the project. You're just not doing it exactly in order. And I don't need to do it exactly in order. It's a process that I've come up with over the years of making comics. It might not work for everybody, especially if you can only think like linearly and you don't feel like you have a handle on the whole project. But I tend to know where I'm at in a project and what needs to be done. So that's what I mean by jump around. Seldom do I ever work completely linearly. And like I said, it's another way of helping me maintain enthusiasm. I think that if I had to work completely in a linear fashion, I think I'd get bored. I tend to put off a lot of stuff towards the end of the process, mostly difficult stuff, because I feel like that if I put that last, the most difficult stuff to draw or color, when I get around to it, I will have built up momentum and also a little bit more skill level. I'm working on. This is actually not part of my work for the day, so I'll be working on 3 processes today for other pages that I have been putting off, and they're like the last processes for the actual issue before I put it to bed. And they're the most difficult pages, and I'm glad I did, because now I know the world better, I know the characters better, and that's just how I work. I don't recommend it for everybody, because sometimes working in order is the best way, depending on how your brain works. Over on YouTube. Hello, Swap Neil. Where was I? I need to add something here. Another rock there. Let's see, coming up on 3 o'clock. I got maybe like 5 more minutes in me for this. I started just a few minutes late because of a technical issue. Oh, one thing I need to check on here is the got my trim. I want to make sure it's. These are my trim guides that I have. This is where this shows me the space that's going to be there before the page is cut down by the printers. So that's where these are the edges where it's cut, and this is my guide for everything in this boundary. All the lettering has to be within this boundary, otherwise it has a risk of being chopped a little bit. So those are always good to have your trim guides. Check them once in a while. Meantime Creation asks, what size is that? If you're talking about the canvas size, I work at comic size. So the digital dimensions of my comic pages are the actual physical dimensions of a comic size. So it's let's see, there's dimensions. 6.877 inches by 10.437 inches, and that's prior to being, trimmed and cut at printer. But the pixel size is 2063 by 3131 at 300 dpi. I've never found any reason to go higher than 30 dpi for print work unless you know you're doing something specifically for large format, like a giant poster. But even my banners, I use 300 dpi material. Even though that's printed larger, I scale it up, and it prints really, really well, especially considering like with convention banners. It's going to be seen from a distance of about 10 feet anyway, because people are going to be standing between looking at your table and your banners, and they're going to be about 10 feet away, 10 feet away. So it's going to be smaller to them anyway. So the detail work doesn't need to be as refined. Anyway, I've never needed more than 300 dpi for print work. I think going beyond that is just, I don't know, it seems silly to me. Over on YouTube, Swapneil says, it's me, Meantime Creations. Okay, well, you're now in two places at once. I think I'm only gonna look at one. I think I want to change a couple of things. I don't like that this is looking, but I can do that later. Almost ready to wrap things up here. I'll be back tomorrow. It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, I think so. For those joining late, I said that except for the Procreate Dreams demo that I'll be doing next week and the week after that for a total of 6 days, everything this month on the live stream is going to be making comics, because issue number 1 of this comes out on the 22nd. Very excited. Donald Delay over on YouTube says, that's brilliant. I've been drawing 11, 17, working digitally. I should just work comic size. Yeah, and that also, one of the other benefits of working comic size, especially for coloring, is your work is only going to be seen, so big, and it's usually like that right there. If I could turn the iPad that way, you'd see, but that's kind of the exact size of a comic right there. So if you're working on the iPad, you can always sort of check your work and say, yeah, this is what it's going to look like printed out. And you can check your details, make sure they're not too much. But working at 11 by 17, unless you're doing like really detailed work, It tends to create a lot of muddy imagery when it's printed down. This way, I can see exactly what it's going to look like at all times on the printed page, and it works really well for this kind of work, cartoony stuff. Right there, I know how to fix that. I got to fix something here. All right, looks like we're coming up on the end here. Got some work done on this. Still need to ink up the background, but I probably won't do that on the show because who wants to watch me, ink these? Unless I do to add some trees, which I might. But it pretty much looks like I want it to. Oh, I need to do her patchwork, but I do that last always anyway. All right, let me just go back here real quick and remind people. Whoop, that's not it. Get there. There we go. Patchwork Girl of Oz. It's coming January 22nd from Image Comics. Final order cutoff was last month, so I hope you got your pre-orders in. If you didn't, please pick up a copy on the 22nd when it comes out. I'll be doing, live streams working on this on the book all through the month and reminding people that it's coming out. I can't wait for it to hit stores. Very, 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 very excited to be a part of the Oz legacy. It's been a dream of mine for a long time. So please pick it up when it comes out. I really would appreciate it. And like, subscribe, all that good stuff to all the places that I'm streaming to. X, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and YouTube. Not necessarily in that order. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for talking with me.